Moment of truth. I'm going to find out right here, right now, whether I can win. I have to be able to clear his Darth Revan. We'll see here, he has 305 speed, 40k health. Darth Bastila is 296. So it's very fast. This is J20 aka Kinetic back with Season 15 Grand Arena. This is the finals. My opponent was Raylo. You'll see here the matchup. He did have pretty much a full setup of teams, including Padme Amidala. So we were pretty fairly matched. You'll see here I have the breakout. He had more Zetas. I had slightly more Gear 11 characters. He had slightly more Gear 12 characters. He had more Gear 6 mods, but overall on the 10, 15, 20, I had a little more depth than he did. Let's give it a shot. I have the team I want to run. Let's try to counter it. I don't have a lot of faith in my Darth Revan team. So we'll see how this goes. You know, it's likely to not work, but it's possible that I'm able to take out somebody and give myself a chance. So I saw two strategies here. One was target Darth Revan, one was target Darth Basti. I'm going to go ahead and target Darth Basti. Which did hold up really well. I'm going to go ahead and put Tenacity up. Fear on everybody. It's alright. Oh, that's unfortunate, but I should be able to get Yoda in there. Damn. Now we have the taunt to deal with. It's not going well. It's not going well. So we come in there, and the first attempt did not go well with Jedi Knight Revan. You'll see here, this is my first top zone. He actually only had 49 points on Bosk, and then he took 2 attempts on Kylo. So I could tell there was a little bit of room to get some points back. And then on the back line top, he managed to get everything except Wampa, and then had to go back in and clean up Wampa. So they weren't super clean attempts for him, and it did leave some points on the board. So it gave me an opening. This is my bottom front row. I was experimenting with Padme to see how that went, but I think he had enough meta teams left to handle those front 2 groups. I'm assuming he used Traya on Night Sisters. And then he was also able to handle my CLS on the back. I was trying to have that kind of be back there as a surprise little team. But he definitely had something left. That's not an easy team to walk over. So I went ahead and gave it another shot. I said, okay, listen, if I can't get this, I'm not even going to take the rest of the night and do it. So this is either going to be a really short video, or I'm going to find a way to make it happen. So I brought Darth Revan in against Darth Revan. I was not confident in this matchup. I hate it when Bastila is faster. I maybe win 2 out of 5 times. So it was really high risk. I was able to airplane mode out of the my Jedi Knight Revan, so they came in with no turn meter. It was very close though. It was very, very close, as you see from the video. And right now I am going to make a move here. Yeah, Fracture to finish off Darth Revan. So actually at that point I realized, oh, okay, you know, maybe I can do something here. And for whatever reason, every time my Darth Revan had Death Mark, I just happened to be taking a turn, or they didn't hit for anything. And so I was able to one-shot Malik. Malik, I felt like, was going to be the biggest trouble for me. But you see, I'm still behind on his Bastila keeps going before mine, so I'm not able to apply any debuffs. And that's fine. At this point, it's survivable. Here I'm trying to make sure I get the double attack. And I was focusing Bastila, and I decided to quickly focus down HK. And sure enough, I managed to take it out. And at this point, I was not ready. I didn't really know what I wanted to do matchup-wise. I just wasted both the top-tier meta teams on that DR team. And only one of them was successful. I did know that I wanted to use Treya on Night Sisters, so I went ahead and jumped in there and did that. And, you know, Treya is the for sure matchup against Night Sisters. It's very difficult to toy with Night Sisters. I don't have a super developed Imperial Troopers team, not yet. It's on the list of things to do, but you know, aside from them, and even that can get really sketchy sometimes unless you have full gear 12s. You know, it's not a, I don't know that's quite as reliable as this. I've never ever lost against the Night Sisters with my Treya team. And it's kind of a little bit overkill, but it also guarantees that you can walk over a team that would otherwise give most other teams trouble. So, just taking my time here, I had isolated zombie, and that, I typically don't do that, but I like the fact that I did that because I realized here, okay, don't kill anybody so that zombie keeps isolate, and then I'm going to have annihilate up, and I'll be able to freely target whoever I want to, and so I'm able to just take Talzin out right away. And so that was not by design. I wish I could take credit for that, but it worked out really nicely, and I think I'll do that in the future. That did seem to be pretty effective for getting that first annihilate out. If this team was pressuring my team a little harder, it probably would have been more important of a decision, but in this case it's not. I'll run 3 here because I had intended to do sometimes I'll toss Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine on the back of this team. Those are really the only Sith that I have developed, and I was intending though to use Emperor Palpatine lead for a fight because I went real heavy on defense, and so I really needed that extra team, especially since I lost my Bastila team because I needed to use Jedi. Well, I used Jedi Knight Revan. Whether or not I needed to is another story. But I used Bastila on his Darth Revan. And so that was basically two potential teams. So I was in a pinch. I didn't have a lot of teams. I don't have a lot of depth remaining. So I had to be very clean in my fights, not just for points, but also because I didn't have anything else. Even if I cleared ultimately, you know, I don't know that would have mattered if I didn't pretty much one-shot everything. So you see I'm just wrapping up here, taking the time. Asajj is starting to hit very hard, and I realized that, and I need to get pain on her. But I think we're about out of zombie revives. Let's see. Yeah. Which is good. She already was hitting too hard. So we'll finish up here. But this team wasn't modded terribly strongly. They had the Asajj lead, and it had the unique on Talzin, which are both very good, especially for turn meter when you don't have a lot of speed. So it's not like it was a bad team. It just, you know, it maximized, you know, offense and then got speed from leaderships and talents, uniques. So it's a good team. I'm looking to do that at some point, but right now I'm relying heavily on Talzin lead. So you see, I want to run Emperor Palpatine against this team, and my thinking here was that with all of the dots that they put out, all the debuffs, the turn meter, you know, that's Old Republic is a really slow team, and I felt like I would be able to definitely out turn meter them, not only on just raw speed mods, but then the turn meter from the leadership and the debuffs. And so I was considering running IPD, and I was definitely considering doing that, but I thought I would have enough firepower here, and I was thinking I would need buff immunity, but I forgot all about shock. Yeah, I know, an entire move I forgot all about, but So I decided to start working on Karth here. Good stun, get 4 stuns. Tarkin debuffing to minimize their damage. You see basically Zalbar is taking no damage, so, and things are going okay, except for now I'm not gaining any turn meter because I'm not killing anyone. And I don't have a Dispel. And so basically Zalbar is just eating everything. He's just going to regenerate all of that turn meter, or all that protection when he takes a turn. Actually, let's see if he does with shock on him. I don't know if he does or doesn't. I think shock only prevents healing. Yeah, so I'm not, it did look like maybe it did, because it looks like it's also regenerating protection from the dots. I needed that to be the kill. I needed that saber throw to be the kill, because I can tell already that this is gonna hang around, and I'm gonna miss on some stuns, some clutch stuns. There I make a big mistake. I should have dotted everything. I didn't do that. So definitely almost cost myself. Yeah, I very well have cost myself some points here. You know, had things been a little bit different. But you see Zalbar is basically healing back up now, because he's not stunned and he's countering. And now I dot everything, and that's a little late. Let's see my stuns. So I get some nice stuns there. So yeah, it's great. I got buff immunity up, but he's already got taunt. So I need the saber throw to crit, and it doesn't. And he's got so much defense from all the hits he's taken throughout this turn. So it looks rough. It doesn't look like I'm going to pull this out. Yeah, they're starting to get the turn meter train. But I did get rid of Karth, and so I decided to keep the fight. Karth's leadership gives some tenacity, some potency, and I figure some crit avoidance. And I figure it would probably help to not have that extra regen of the protection. There was a last ditch effort. I was thinking maybe I could get a big crit. Honestly, the last 3 saber throws Vader had didn't crit either, and that could have made a difference. You never know. I do have crit damage and crit damage in the triangle, so yeah, he very well could have one-shot somebody. If Zalbar would have gone down, it would have been an easy clean. So here I'm trying to figure out, with what I have remaining, what on earth can I use here? Because I still have to deal with the Padme team, and there's not a lot of great resources out there for the Padme. And it's really hard to gauge how effective that team can be with Gear 10 characters. He had the leadership Zeta. I don't remember if he had the unique on Padme, but he also had the Zeta on Ahsoka. So right now I'm rifling through here. I'm trying to make up my mind. It was definitely you kind of see what I have available to me. I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can Zerg them down and go with my leftover rebels. And I'm thinking this is a really good, burst down team. And I thought that would be sufficient. And I go ahead and toss Leia on here too. And I'm like, okay, that's easy. I should be able to get it here. I think we know that Wedge and Biggs, unfortunately, are no longer even close to relevant other than in ships. But I didn't realize that it was quite this bad. And mine are fairly well modded. They're fairly well modded, fairly well geared. I have gear 11 Wedge and gear 12 Biggs. I have extra gear 12 plus on Wigs. So on Biggs. So now I'm behind taunts. I should be able to get Canderous, which is good. That gets rid of some of the dots. And so it's looking good here, and then that happens. Okay, It's fine. Juhani's hiding a little bit, so it's cool. What can we do here? And so every time you get stuck behind Zalbar, I should look at his defense, because I actually didn't, but I think he's got to be stacking defense heavy, because he had a very slow one. But that multiplicative defense, I think, really comes into play. And his guy is just tanky. And Zalbar is just tanky. And you see, you know, between the Zetas on all of them had Zetas there. All three of those remaining characters. They can really do work. And so I'm like, oh, okay. All right, so I really need to beat this Padme team. Let me change up my thinking here, and let me go in here, and let me see if I can get them with JTR. You know, in my mind I was thinking, okay, JTR has the undispellable heal immunity. Will that be enough? And I wasn't sure. I didn't know if Padme's leadership, if they had protection up, would prevent it. You know, I knew like Scavenger Ray would be useless again with Barris on the team, but I figured, oh, you know, maybe I can follow up Scavenger Ray's hits on the healing immunity character. So his weakest character out here was Anakin, and Anakin would be who I would have targeted first regardless. And so I go ahead and I didn't remove any turn meter, that's right, because of the leadership. So I go ahead and target Anakin, and I want to get rid of Anakin. Anakin is the damage, and he's got the debuffs. And so I'm just working on him back there. He's got crit immunity, but honestly, the crit immunity works against Barris, so that was good. It also prevented Kenobi from taunting again. So now you see I'm trying to decide. I was happy that I was able to take out Anakin, because I felt like this was going to be a little bit easier as long as I kept those courage stacks under control. And so now here I'm just constantly getting really nicely timed dispels too on Kenobi. And the crit immunity remaining on the character really helps for me to finish them off. You know, Padme's gone now, Kenobi taunts again. So I wasn't too... I figured I had it easily now. I was probably going to be more of just a grindy kind of thing. But I am trying to finish with as much protection and healing as possible. You know, I did come in with a full resistance squad, and that perhaps might have been a little overkill, but I didn't want to risk it, because again, this team, I don't know that a lot of people are familiar with this team and what it's capable of yet. At least in the mid ranks, you know, we've seen what it's capable of doing at the highest level. But as far as what it's capable of doing, you know, kind of in the gear 10, gear 11, you know, prior to tier 7 Padme's. So I managed to finish with 59 points. I missed one protection. And so I see his back line real quick. And he's got Ewoks back there. And not a particularly scary Ewok team. His Poplo had like 77 plus speed, which isn't horrible. That's not bad, especially with the 25% unique. So that's going to put him at 230, 220 speed. But I had my Ewoks remaining too, and I had my nest. And I was trying to decide whether I needed to use my nest on if I wanted to try it for the OR, or if I wanted to use nest against the Ewoks. Ewoks pretty much guaranteed win. And so I decided to sit on nest. I decided to give Troopers a try, I believe. Try to give Troopers a try on... Honestly, Troopers could have handled Ewoks as well. But I decided to give Troopers a try on Old Republic. And I make that decision... Let's see, am I going to use Nest first? No, I am going to use Troopers. I make that decision because I figured maybe Deathmark would come into play and be useful for me. I don't know why it took me so long to make that realization, but there you have it. And so I do run them, and I have to run a kind of a gimped. My snow trooper is only gear 8. I mean, that bonus crit damage is obviously is really good, but his survival is pretty rough. So now I have to see if I can if I can beat Zelbar's taunt. And so I'm trying to, and I get just a massive 32k crit with Deathmark. And that was amazing. And that gets the train rolling, and good night, Zelbar. So this team was really effective. It's something maybe I would consider doing against OR in the future, because you know most of the time you can Zerg Karth down, and so you can really get the Terminator train going with this team. And so I think that's something I may attempt in the future, because that was just clean. And I see that he has a weaker Separatist team in the back, so I'm slightly relieved because I don't have a lot of teams left. So pretty much I have Ewoks and an assortment of random nonsense, and then Nest. And you see I'm looking at the gearing in the mods. Honestly, the Separatist team is pretty much where mine is right now. So I know this is tried and true. The reason this is really effective with Ewoks is even with days, you know, even if you have days, you'll survive, because when they finally work through Nest protection, if they're still alive, the only one that can hit hard enough to potentially threaten Nest is Wicked. But my Nest is up to 40k health now, and realistically speaking, I think you're going to be hard pressed to find a Wicket that can hit for 40k on a regular basis. And that's got to be the first hit that Nest takes coming off of a turn. So you have 4 other Ewoks, assist, you name it, right? And so odds are that that's not going to happen. It's a pretty safe bet that they're not going to be able to line up the stars align. Nest is going to finish everybody off eventually, and every time she hits and dispels either the evasion or defense up, the taunt, she's gaining crit damage. You know, so between the exposes and the crit damage, it's inevitable. You know, she gets a nice 17k crit on Ewok Elder, and if she's going to AoE here. Let's see if Retribution's dispelled. No, it's not. There you go, nice AoE, and that seals it. Like, she still had protection left. Not anymore, but she did. So there you go, 63 banners. So that 63, that's a solid number. And so now I have to deal with Grievous. And right now I'm doing the math. And I'm doing the math on trying to find the stats on what I needed to win. And so I go ahead and pulled up my calculator, and I did the math there. So it's 150 for the zone. Okay, so I found the difference between our current points, and I subtracted 150, and what I'm left with is 53 points is what I needed on this fight, 53 or higher. And if I did that, I would win. I'd win by at least a single point. And so right now I'm actually doing the math, because I honestly had no idea if my Ewoks, I didn't know if his gear 12s were going to just shred them. I had no idea. I have relatively decently geared and modded Ewoks. I did invest 2 Zetas in the Ewoks. They run about 85k GP. They're a solid little team. But I can't use them a lot because Nest can solo them as well. I don't have that faith in that team being able to hold up. I do have the ideal setup with low gray and wicket and Poplu, and I have the wicket Zeta. And so you see here, I'm struggling to find the Ewoks. Apparently, I don't even use them that much. So, but they're all gear 11. So I'm reconsidering, like, do I run these guys against this team? Because at this point, I didn't really expect to even have this opportunity. I wasn't sure I would be able to get through his DR. In fact, I had a pretty high confidence I would not be able to get through his DR. And if I didn't get through it with my 2 meta teams, which I kept intentionally, thinking that if I was in his position, I would also put DR on defense. Then I was going to be stopped dead. So I need 54 points to win. And so his team wasn't extremely fast. You see even the Ewoks even go before Count Dooku. And so I want to go ahead and get rid of B2 so he doesn't get all those AoE dispels, buff immunities, and he doesn't get all those free turns. So I didn't want to mess with him. I decide, let's focus him. I do risk an AoE here, I think. Yeah, but I get very fortunate. Calls an assist. He didn't get turn meter. He finished. So I'm going to go ahead and hide Elder here just to make sure. I'm trying to decide who to go after next. Count Dooku went down really fast. I was actually surprised by that. He's a gear 12, so I'm assuming my opponent didn't have him modded very well. But because Grievous dropped below 100% health, he forced Magna Guard to taunt. Ewoks finish him off. So now I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I need to not get killed by Grievous, but I also need to start regenerating some of my protection, which is Ewok or Wicket crit. And so I'm trying to get as many crits as possible to get my team back up, and there I get no crits. And I'm like, oh, I have 4 people there that don't have max protection. And you see I choose not to call everyone to assist. And now I have 5 people that don't have max protection. So that was not going great. So I decided to tag. So I did get 1 crit. I think I got Poplu back up and might have gotten low gray close. I did. So it gave me Poplu and low gray. And that was enough. That was what I needed. And it was a good battle. It was a solid battle. Hopefully my opponent enjoyed it too. Thanks for watching. Subscribe below.